Need a new car? The Society of St. Vincent de Paul is hosting a car raffle fundraiser to raise money for their Madison food pantry, pharmacy, micro-lending program, and other services that help local families. That's right, you can buy tickets now for a chance to win one of 5 brand new vehicles. They've got 2026 Hondas, Nissans, and one Mazda. Tickets are $100 each and only 5,000 will be sold. Find more details on the cars and buy tickets at svdpmadison.org/raffle. This is CityCast Madison. I'm Bianca Martin, and here's what Madison's talking about. Today, Madison schools released their proposed budget for 2026-2027. Concerts on the Square start this week. Plus, for our good Anya, a little shine on a Little League baseball coach who's been making the city proud. Joining me now to talk about it all is local entrepreneur, former city politician, Mr. Madison, Scott Resnick. Scott, welcome to CityCast Madison.
Bianca, thank you so much for having me today.
Yes. So before we get started, Scott, we're going to want to have you on a bunch after this. So we want you to introduce yourself kind of in full-fledged so folks get to know who is Scott Resnick if they don't, and like how you're connected in the city.
Thanks. So I came to Madison in 2005 to go to school at UW-Madison. I was an entrepreneur, although thought I wanted to become a lawyer when I came to school. So in 2005, had the first idea for a startup with a handful of friends in college. So put yourself, whatever you're doing in 2005, we had this idea that folks wanted to watch TV online. And I know that might sound crazy, but someday people will watch TV online. We were not the team to do it.
I was like, that was you?
We were not, but it was actually the moment that Viacom made a deal to go create Hulu, and we were all out of jobs. But it was the second company that we created that ended up doing, fairly well, and sort of had that entrepreneurial bug. So to pay it forward, to have other entrepreneurs feel success, created an organization called Starting Block, raised $10 million as part of that project, and have just sort of been trying to pay it forward to the community to make sure anyone can start a company.
Yeah, you are so deep in the entrepreneurial roots of the city. Like, I feel like if folks don't know, you also are connected because you ran for office.
I've won office. It's sort of
You've
crazy.
not just run for office. Yeah, you've served in the city.
And this is the beautiful part about Madison and giving others opportunity. I can say that I was one of the youngest elected leaders in the country when my district put me on the city council in 2011. I eventually lost that title because I kept on getting older and more young people were winning elections. But I did serve 2 terms on the Madison City Council and still stay active. I'm a board member at the Madison Development Corporation, which we manage affordable housing units in Madison, and also on the Boys and Girls Club board.
Yes. So, Scott, tell us, before we keep moving, what's one thing that you love about our fair city of Madison?
I love the idealistic people that are sitting here in Madison. We are this creative, dense group of individuals that are idealistically trying to help others. It makes Madison an envious community, and I truly love the last 20 years that I've spent here.
Envious community, highlight, underscore. That's a good one. That's real. People want to be here. And to that point, let's get into the news. People want to be here. Our population is growing. And last week, the Madison School Board proposed an 8.5% property tax increase to fund their next budget. Got to support our students. In all transparency, we're recording this on Monday morning ahead of the school board's vote. So, Scott, what is in this proposed budget for MMSD, and what might it mean for the average Madisonian if it's carried through to the end?
Yeah, so this is a big budget. It's about $700 million. This is for our public schools. And when you receive your tax bill, it's about 45% of what you're paying your local property taxes to. Some of that money goes to the city, some goes to the county, little bit to Madison College, but a big bulk is to support our public schools. And Here in Dane County, as folks remember, we did recently pass a operating referendum back in 2024, which said we're going to be supporting our schools even more, going above what state caps are. 69% of voters said this was something that we support as Madisonians. So we shouldn't be surprised that we're seeing now increases as that bill is coming due. And what that means is school district budget is increasing by about $35 million, and about 8% of that is being covered by local taxpayers.
And if there are any folks that are surprised, like you said, people voted for a tax increase. But is it fair, too, just for level setting, that there's probably always going to be some kind of raise in taxes for schools? Or is that just now I feel it's that way because I live in Madison? And
Well, just like you're feeling the affordability crisis, I'm feeling the affordability crisis. The school district is also feeling that. They saw their insurance premiums go up. They're seeing the impacts of inflation. There's cost of living. So yes, you are absolutely right. Everyone is sort of feeling that burden. So it shouldn't come as a giant surprise that if we want to have the quality of school district that we idealize, it's going to cost more money.
Mhm. So what will this increase pay for?
Well, there's a lot of good in this budget. And for those who are concerned with what the levy increases are, I will just say there are some really strong positives inside this budget. One, it's the cost of living that we are providing our teachers. Now, I should transparently say my wife is one of those teachers. I do have two children, one in the pre-K program, another who's in elementary school. So I am personally benefiting from these increases. But what this looks like is a $9.5 million raise for our teachers, and also incentive pay for those who were left behind previous years, sort of a catch up for some of our veteran teachers, which is nearly $5,000 for those who have been working in the district for up to 30 years. We're also seeing one of the most progressive versions of paid family leave, up to 12 weeks for our teachers, with a number of other bonus provisions that we don't need to get into, but just confidently say that our school board is trying to think through what are those benefits for our public employees, and expanded 4K. So there's a lot of positives in this budget. It is a big number. What that means for the average value homeowner, which is now crazily at $500K for a home in Madison. That means you will be seeing a $300 increase to this, but quite a bit of positives for what you're getting, that bang for your buck. And I will say that the school board takes a lot of delineated conversation. They do think very meaningfully about these increases and what you do choose to pay for and not, and that these were the values that they felt strongly for to support our teachers.
And I feel like in the past few years, a running concern is just having enough teachers. Like there's been a teacher shortage, and that the school district and schools have been actively working to fix that picture, just so we can have a baseline of what's needed.
That's the reality to it. I mean, the school district is also more than just teachers. It's all of your support staff. It's everything from janitorial services, food service workers, mental health professionals,
Bus
aides and
drivers.
administrators. Bus drivers may be contracted out. I don't
they're
know if we have it. They may, although their costs are certainly incorporated inside this budget. MMSD is the 5th largest employer in Madison. So this is actually really meaningful dollars that when you do invest in your schools, those dollars are staying locally for local employment. While we're outsourcing so many pieces in our economy right now, you can't outsource a teacher. So when you are looking at that is, almost 2,700 teachers in our schools. So it is a real number. It is an important number, but it's also one that we need to value because there is competition from other districts. You do want to make sure that we are getting high quality staff here in our schools educating our children.
Yeah, for sure. And double tap on how in depth the school board goes and reading into the proposals and what is best for Madison. As we've already hit on, and don't have to say it a million times, but money is tight for a lot of people right now. What have you heard about in terms of reaction for this budget proposal?
Well, I'll say it's multiple fold. One, money is also tight for our teachers. They are also undercompensated for the work that they are continuously bringing back to our population and to our children. So even trying to find housing here in Madison, it's one of the reasons why we're losing our teachers, particularly if you can't afford to live in the city. Like, what does that reflect of our own values? So I will just say the reality is the reaction has been mixed. We saw a 20% levy increase last year, which was almost $600 on the bill. This year, it's almost $300. And I am talking about the average household here. So they're feeling it. Also, the reality is that everyone is impacted, whether you're a renter or homeowner. So we do realize that these increases do mean our most vulnerable residents are the ones that are the most impacted.
Yeah, I was going to throw at you for someone who's like, those Madison teachers are paid better than anyone else. But it's also, as you're saying, commensurate with what it takes to live in the city. Like, what is the cost of living compared to what is the salary of an average teacher in MMSD?
Correct. And we really are putting intentional plans to make sure that post-pandemic, we are attracting the best workforce for our students.
And just to be clear, you personally don't work for the district, but you
I
speak
am
in we.
not.
I find myself doing the same thing with Madison. I think it's good because it's like you feel committed and connected with the movement of the city and the choices that are being made. But you're saying we as in the school district, right? When you're saying
We as in school district, we as all Madisonians, when you think about what reflective values we have in our community, like strong schools are at the core essence. Because whether it's upward mobility, whether it's getting the right chances to thrive in our society, so much of that starts with a good education, on day one. So it's those pieces that the school board are really tackling because teachers are now being asked to do so much more than when you and I both were in school. A teacher might be playing multiple roles today that wasn't the case 20, 30, 40 years ago.
meeting.
Oh, everything, tackling cell phones in schools
There
down
you
to
go.
being, assisting with the social workers, dealing with issues of poverty, dealing with many of the new struggles that our classroom teachers find themselves in a time where we have limited resources across all parts of government. So it's a really challenging day to be a teacher.
Yeah. Well, I know that the state has a big hand in what our schools get financially. And there was motion in the state capitol recently to try and get more funding for our schools, but ultimately it failed in the Senate. So let's talk about the state's role in this picture. Like on Monday's podcast, we talked about the 76th Assembly District race, a hot one happening here. Whoever will replace Francesca Hong, who's in that seat now. And one thing that came up from that forum with the candidates was a desire to fully fund public schools and lower property taxes. Is that possible? And where does the state come in?
I mean, it is tough. And as we all know, the state has been, grappling, both Democrats and Republicans, about how to get more money into our schools. Now, I will just say they're going about it vastly different ways, which is one of the beautiful parts about politics, which we will continue to debate. But the reality is the money that Tony Evers negotiated with the GOP, the goal was to get that into the Madison public schools. We saw a lot of support from MMSD officials for that, which would have cut that, essentially the levy increase, in half. So instead of seeing $300, it would have still been a $150 increase. But it's really a confusing model at the end of the day. How these pieces are divvied up and dissected is just a challenge. So whether you're covering special education, whether you're going towards special programming inside the schools, whether you're covering new buildings, there's no one definition to say fully fund schools. So while it's a really popular idea, and I think we all can be supportive of funding our public schools, we really do need to ask our politicians, what does that mean? Particularly in a time where school populations are declining And we do need more state aid if we're going to meet those bars for our children.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit more about those challenges with the school populations declining and other ways that we're just like not meeting the bar?
And this is sort of the interesting phenomenon that we find ourselves both post-pandemic, changes in just fertility rates during that time period, as well as new laws that allow open enrollment across charter schools and private schools. We are seeing the number of students dipping in Madison's public schools. Now, we still have a very large population of students who are in the schools. Roughly 25,000 students are here in our public schools, but we do expect those numbers to go down by about 1,000 within the next 10 years. So less students in our schools, that means less state aid. Where does that difference come from? And it's becoming our taxpayer. So we do see just a lot of challenges because of that. One, it's almost always our most vulnerable students are the ones that we need to find ways to support. And it's those who are either having significant behavior challenges or those with special needs on one end of the spectrum. We're finding ourselves falling short on the resources that they need. And at the highest end, those looking for advanced learning options, we're seeing that being cut from the budget. So the school board is grappling with some really tough issues.
And is there anything that we can do outside of raising taxes?
Well, we haven't found a way to clone teachers. And it's one area, while we have so many other improvements in our economy, things going faster, new improvements, we still need an educator in that classroom. So really, we do need to, as a city, start asking ourselves, what can the city of Madison do? What can the county do? What can philanthropic organizations do, to better build that idealistic classroom for our children?
At this point, Scott, where are we at in the process? And for folks listening, how can they make their voice heard for this process and to the school board?
So at the time of this recording, the school board hasn't voted yet, but what you're listening to right now and what we're talking about is the preliminary budget that will likely be approved. Now, over the course of the next few months, there's going to be debates on new expenditures, things to pull from the budget, not included in the budget. But by the time this fall comes around, we'll know exactly the number of students in our schools, and we'll have a more concrete number of a finalized budget. But you always can email the board. You can look up contacts online, and our school board members want to hear from you. So it's important to stay engaged in the civic process.
Yes. Okay. I'm really glad that we touched on that this morning. It's super awesome to hear from you, who's been on city council, who is so connected, knowing that your wife is in the district and just really being close to it as a parent as well. So thank you for bringing us the update there. And hey, y'all, we've got more stories around the corner, but do want to hear from you. Like, what do you think about how the school district is proposing to fill their budget gaps? Do you think that they should do it in any other ways? Just any questions that you have about the process, let us know. Text us, leave us a voicemail on the CityCast Madison line at 608-318-3367. We love hearing from you, and we want to include your thoughts in an upcoming mailbag segment. If you do, call in 608-318-3367 and stay close, because we'll be right back. Concerts on the Square start this Wednesday. This is a cherished 6-week series that the Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra puts on each summer. And if you're going to the concerts, you're going to want to know about what's going on this season. And if you're not, you also want to know about what's going on if you plan on going anywhere downtown or across the city after work. You're going to want to know, trust me, for getting caught many a time in this traffic. So, Scott, first off, are you a concert goer?
I am. I set up my blankets about 6 to 8 hours ahead of time. Great to jump out at the lunch hour, get a primo spot.
Okay, so you're you're through and through.
I'm in it. I'm in it for this game.
How long have you been going to concerts? Just so I get a full picture. Like, I would need to know, Scott, like your profile as a Concerts on the Square guy.
Like, I think it's one of those things where you transition from being a UW student to a Madisonian. as you start showing up to concerts on the square. So at least 15 to 20 years going, there will be times you'll miss one, but it's one of the great social events on Wednesday nights.
And I'm going to get into the full kind of what's going on this season. But Eddie, you want to highlight like that you're particularly excited for this summer?
I will be this guy and say July 22nd, Hollywood hits. You have Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Pirates of the Caribbean. I'm in.
That's going to be really, and you've got a family, right? So I bet that's going to be like fun for all.
The 8-year-old is just ready to like be able to sit through the concert. So we're really excited.
Yeah. And as someone who listens to Lord of the Rings, like all different genres of Lord of the Rings songs, I totally agree with you that that's going to be a really awesome night. One thing that we know for sure about concerts is they are popular. They've been doing this for the past 40 years. Tens of thousands of people come to enjoy them. And it's quite the wholesome affair, I'll just say. And one of my favorite parts is you just get to see a whole lot of Madison. Like, I'm like, oh, that's the transportation director. And everyone comes out. It's a good time to be seen, to see, but mainly to listen to the music. And I'll just give a little bit of background on what's happening this season. The season starter is Joel and John, Piano Man Legends. The touring group Jeans and Classics are going to dazzle us with our orchestra. Come play the hits for those two absolute legends. Scott, where do you stand on Billy or Elton? Like, do you have a preference? Are you a fan?
I mean, one has Rocket Man, Daniel, Madman Across the Water. I'm pretty sure I know where I land.
Okay, Tiny Dancer. For this Uptown Girl, I will walk down that yellow brick road with you. Elton John is just one of my favorite people of all time. But I did learn that apparently those two guys have some beef in recent history in the past decade or so. But I know celebrity gossip isn't for everyone. When I heard that they like have beef, it made me think about dueling pianos, which happens on State Street at the piano bar. Have you been to that?
I have. I'm an Ivy Room guy myself. So like live music, and if we need to see one improvement in Madison, it's just more live music around the Capitol Square. But we do have some options. I do love it.
Yeah, and Billy and Elton are playing regularly at the Ivy Room. So I had to bring that up. But actually, let's get back to the concerts on the square for this brief preview, just highlights. In addition to Joel and John, the July 1st concert features beloved Madison hip-hop artist Rob Dees, who is so about Madison and supporting hip-hop locally. That event is called United in Sound. So it's going to be to celebrate the United States 250th anniversary. No big deal. They will do all the classics, the Star-Spangled Banner and Armed Forces Salute to the Tchaikovsky's 1812 Overture. Lift Every Voice and Sing will be on there. There's going to be black music. There's going to be all kinds of medleys and some apparently contemporary American voices throughout. It sounds like it's going to get a little artsy, and I'm excited about it. There are some more on the rest of the bill for the summer, just to shout out Under Paris Skies. So some Parisian sparkle, a little La Vie Boheme, not literally that song, just the vibe, as you talked about Hollywood hits. And they're going to end on Rhapsody Squared, which builds towards one of the, quote, most iconic pieces in American music, Gershwin's Rhapsody in Blue. It's going to be a really good season. And I am curious, you've shared a little bit, but do you have any traditions?
Well, one, you have to bike there if you can. Traffic is always difficult to the concert. But if you're able to do that, grab some cheese, maybe a glass of wine. It is a good time. It's a social event. Really, it's a great gathering for the community. And the fact that we can still keep it affordable, it is free, it just brings out a great crowd.
Yes, I think getting cheese is pretty high up there. I think if there was a survey or poll across the whole lawn, there would be a lot of cheese on blankets. Vermont Nation is right there. Shout out to them. I do think the snacks are big. I think what you're bringing in your picnic, having the opportunity to be like around all these folks picnicking, it really makes me feel like I'm in a city when Concerts in the Square is happening.
And when you were walking around and seeing the entire Capitol filled with people, like it makes it just something so special about being in Madison during that time and then avoiding the rain dates. Those are that's always the worst. So hopefully every Wednesday, just sunshine and cool nights.
That's what we're calling for. And I'm glad that you brought that up because I know there are a lot of new folks that moved to Madison and some people are thinking about moving to Madison or just visiting who listen to this show. You should know what happens when bad weather is rolling in, looking at the radar. Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra makes the decision on whether to continue or cancel that day's concert by 3 p.m. 3 p.m., folks. So an official announcement gets made on WCO Concerts website, wcoconcerts.org, and on their Facebook and Instagram. And if the concert is canceled in time by 3 p.m., they will postpone it to the next day. You can follow Wisconsin Chamber Orchestra on Facebook or Instagram to stay in the loop for those rain cancellations. Highly recommend it. Knowing we live in Wisconsin, there will be weather. And I hope, if anything, I'm jinxing it for the opposite. All right, we're going to move on. Everyone enjoy their concerts this week. And coming up next is Good On Ya, our segment to put a little shine on people doing good things in Madison. Before we get to that, we're going to take a quick break. It's that time of the year, out and about. It's time for softball, baseball, t-ball season is upon us. And this week's Good On Ya in the community is a longtime baseball commissioner who was recently honored. Scott, you brought us this Good On Ya this week. Tell us about Michael Pressman.
Yes. So the Midvale Heights Community Association is honoring Michael Pressman, the commissioner of the local baseball league for the last 30 years, for a job well done. They will be providing a plaque for him at Oak Park Heights, which is where the baseball field is. And that dedication was recently made.
Well, I want to know, how do you know this local star? How did you come across Michael? And I love this because I'm seeing so much T-ball on my Instagram that I'm like, yes, for sure. Let's shout out Michael.
It is hard to miss Michael on the West Side. He is not only the commish, but you always see him in his New York Yankees hat. He has been setting up the Midvale T-ball league for the last 30 years. You have over 3,000 players who have gone through that league. I have coached for Michael. And I will just tell you, if you want to just have an idea of what it's like to go through T-ball, 3, 4, 5-year-old children, keeping them engaged with that game, it takes sainthood right there to organize 3-year-olds on the baseball diamond. But he's also not only his exposure to bring kids into the game, but he's always made it affordable through the neighborhood association. So while private equity and everything else is jacking up the exposure, just being part of your first league, it's still $50 today to be a part of it. It's really something special for the children.
And now we know that you've been a T-ball coach.
There are certain jobs that I will sign up for and re-sign up for. T-ball coached for 3 and 4-year-olds. I've done my part.
You've done your part. I love it. And it's just also, we just went past Father's Day. So I feel like this is a really good shout out. And that's so cool that you were able to coach. And one of your sons played. Is that right?
One of my sons played in the league. Now we're doing Madison West Little League. So it really is fun to see that progression of players.
So you're getting your time outside and you're still getting to root folks on?
I was there my Father's Day, Sunday night, coaching my son's league. It was in the rain. I am very fortunate that we ended up winning 15-13. So it was a very special Father's Day.
Love it. Shout out to all the fathers. Shout out to all the little leaguers. And you know what? I've been a fan of my boyfriend's softball team. So I've been out every week. Every time I get done watching them, I want to go to Culver's. I frequently do go to Culver's. They have my business so solidly these past couple of months. And I'm thinking about ice cream because we brought our conversation on best local ice creams back the other week. And Susan wrote us with a very important addition, something that we missed. So this is Susan. She said, nice article on ice cream, but you missed a really, really good one. Stelli's on East Washington. Formerly known as Dairy Godmother. She went on to write honey vanilla bean, barista sea salt espresso, Miyazaki ice cream, and passion fruit caramel. All of those sound insane. Scott?
I will +1 the honey bean vanilla. It's fantastic.
The honey bean vanilla. Also, miso yaki ice cream. I do really like savory ice cream, so I am glad that you wrote this in, Susan. Thank you so much. All of that sounds incredible. And you know what else? Speaking of fun outside, we're hosting a special event this week for our neighbors. So if you are a CityCast Madison neighbor, make sure to check your email for the invite. And if you aren't a neighbor, now's a good time to join. Head to membership.citycast.fm/Madison to become a member today. And join us for our event tomorrow. It's going to be really lovely. And I also want to give a shout out to our newest neighbor, Autumn S. I hope to see you at our event tomorrow, Autumn. Thank you for joining us. And hey, that's the end of our show. Scott Resnick, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
That's all for today here on CityCast Madison. I'm your host, Bianca Martin. Don't forget, you can support the show and get great perks by becoming a CityCast Madison neighbor at membership.citycast.fm/Madison. And if you enjoyed today's show, why not share this episode with someone who cares about public schools, property taxes, and free live music? Alrighty, help spread the word about CityCast Madison. It really does make a difference. Share this episode, share your favorites, and we will be back tomorrow morning with more stories from around the city. Until then, take good care, and thanks for listening.